Hi, my name's Joe Shannon, and I work at a firm called Shannon Law Group, with some very talented people. So our firm represents people that are catastrophically injured in bad collisions, and a lot of times they demand some expertise. What I asked one of our attorneys, Patrick Cummings, to do was to really delve into this area of law during his practice. And during his years of practice, he's gotten repeated exposure to these cases. And in fact, I asked him if he'd be kind enough to write a book so that we could send it to our clients and our friends so they know exactly what's going on with these cases. And he did. He wrote a book called Avoiding a Trucking Nightmare. The good thing about this book is that you can download it from our website, but we'll also send you a copy of it. But hey, better than that, we have Patrick with us today to talk about some trucking litigation and trucking cases. So I'm hopeful that you'll enjoy this session. So let's talk about truck accidents. We'll get right to it. When somebody gets in a truck crash, I mean, usually it's a really bad injury. You handle a number of these cases, and we get these cases. Sometimes we get a call right away from the family, or sometimes we get a call 6 months down the road. What's the difference about getting that type of call right away versus 6 months later?
Yeah, so if you're involved in a serious truck accident, it's important that you minimize the time between the actual crash and when you reach out to an attorney. And here's the reason why. Every time that a truck is involved in a serious crash, the trucking company, one of their first calls, sometimes it's even before they call 911, they call their insurance company. And these insurance companies have these rapid response teams that will go out to the scene and will start collecting evidence immediately. And so a lot of times what happens with our clients is maybe they're in surgery or they're in the emergency room. And so they might not get to call an attorney right away. So there's already a lag between when the insurance company starts investigating your case and when we start investigating your case. So the quicker we can get involved and start investigating your case, collecting evidence and making sure that nobody's destroying evidence, the better it's going to be for your case ultimately.
Tell me some of the pieces of evidence that are key in these type of cases.
So one of the biggest ones that's important now, and it's been more important in the last 10 or 15 years than before, is every truck that's produced now is equipped with what's called a electronic control module. It's similar to like a black box in an airplane. And it records a ton of data. It's kind of amazing how much data you can pull from one of these things. You can see how fast a car was going, whether there was braking before a crash, what the angle of the steering wheel was. It's always recording as the vehicle's in motion. And then when there's an event, such as an impact or an airbag goes off or a hard brake, then all that data for 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on the model, before that event is recorded. And so it's important that we get involved early so we can say to the trucking company, hey, this is important. We need you to preserve this. And we get a consultant out there to inspect it as soon as possible.
So I know that what we're seeing a lot of in the last couple of years is that a lot of these trucks are also equipped with video equipment. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Many trucking companies, especially the bigger trucking companies, are equipping their tractors with dashboard cameras. And there's two different types of dashboard cameras. There's outward facing. So basically the camera is showing what the truck driver would be seeing at the time. And there's also rear view facing, or that's facing into the cabin of the tractor, which shows you what the driver was doing at the time of the impact or in the 15, 20 seconds before the impact. And one of the reasons they do it is for litigation. They want to know, what their exposure is, whether they think their truck driver did anything wrong. The other reason is for training purposes. So if a truck driver, if you're watching a video of him and you notice that his eyes keep going down, and he's looking at his phone or he's looking at a map or he's adjusting the radio or trying to get on his CB radio or whatever, and his eyes are off the road, this is an 80,000 pound rig that he's driving. So his eyes need to be on the road, focused almost all the time. These bigger trucking companies will use that video and they'll flag when the eyes leave the roadway, and so that they can coach their drivers and say, hey, we noticed that at this time, when you're in this location, you weren't paying attention. And then they can retrain it on that issue.
Right. So those, the ECM as well as the videos, those are absolutely crucial. I mean, it's just common sense that folks understand that, and those are things that we don't want to go away because they would be helpful to their case. Because typically, we're getting cases where this big rig either wasn't stopping or changed lanes unexpectedly or did something erroneous and then ran over these folks who are helpless and really badly injured. So in fact, we have a case that Patrick and I are working on right now where we were lucky enough to get involved early, and we did get all these things. And so we're just thankful for our client who is badly injured in this crash, and that we found all that stuff out. So we obviously, if they're sending insurance adjusters out to the scene, we want our client to have an investigator go out to the scene. Why would we want investigators to go out to the scene of this crash?
Well, let me start with this. Insurance adjusters and their investigators that go out to investigate a crash, their primary goal is not to find out exactly what happened and to understand how this could have been prevented. Their job is to help the insurance company's case to keep money in their pockets and out of the injured victim's pockets. Okay, so it's important that every injured victim in a truck crash has an investigator that's out there looking to see, whether there's witnesses to this crash, whether there's physical evidence, photographing the scene, eventually getting an inspection of the truck, seeing what kind of damage was done to the truck, making sure you photograph the victim's car, whether it's in a lot or something. These are all things that you can't rely on an insurance company adjuster or investigator to provide to you fairly. You have to go do it yourself.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate you taking time. And again, thanks for writing your book. It's called Avoiding a Trucking Nightmare: What You Need to Know After a Truck-Related Injury. And it's simple to read. It's a good resource, and you can pick it up at shannonlawgroup.com. You should also, if you like the information that we're providing to you, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel at Shannon Law Group. So I hope you enjoyed this taping, and we look forward to hosting more of these tapes in the future. Thank you very much.